So the Houdini of South African politics has survived again. Let's speak to Lebo Diseko from our Focus on Africa programme. Will the opposition accept this? It is democracy in action. And will it give the much-needed political stability that South Africa needs now?
Well, I guess the opposition's kind of made a rod for their own back, because they insisted that this was going to be, that they wanted this to be a secret vote. They pushed this through, so I guess they have to accept it, don't they? In terms of stability, well, who can tell? The one thing about South African politics is that it's less than predictable. The next big date, I guess, is in December. The ANC will be holding its elective conference, and they'll choose their next leader. President Zuma will have to stand down.
So he won't be able to maintain his role as president of the ANC, but he will for the country until 2019.
Absolutely. I guess there will be talks going on within the ANC tonight and over the next few days and weeks about do they really want to enter the next election, 2019, with President Zuma heading up the country, or do they want to find a way for him to step down gracefully?
There have been so many corruption allegations against him, even a rape allegation at one stage, which he was acquitted of. How much more is in the pipeline, though, in particular with the Gupta scandal, which seems to be engulfing South African media at the moment, because there are all these hundreds of thousands of emails which have still to be investigated publicly?
Yeah, I think that is quite a question. I think we have to be careful. As you said, he was acquitted of the rape allegation, and there were a number of corruption allegations that were dropped but now have come back, and there are new corruption allegations as well. It is a difficult one. It does seem that every weekend in the Sunday papers in South Africa there are new allegations about the president's links to this Gupta family, this family from India, who essentially are accused of bankrolling the president and unduly influencing politics and policy in South Africa.
When it comes to the sacking of the finance minister, how much of a role did that play in the way the economy has gone from bad to worse in recent months?
Well, I think there were already a number of problems, but I don't think, having three finance ministers in, essentially a space of a few days is never going to inspire confidence from the markets. And I think the sacking of Pravin Gordhan after that night of the long knives, they call it, I don't think inspired confidence either. So we saw South Africa downgraded in terms of its credit rating.
Yeah, and well, junk status by two agencies, I think, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah, two agencies. So, yeah, that's never going to help an economy.
Just stay with us. I just want to take viewers to these live pictures outside the Parliament building. If you are just joining us, Jacob Zuma, the President of South Africa, has survived that latest, the 8th no confidence vote in him. This one different from the previous ones, though, because it was held in a secret ballot. But ANC supporters celebrating outside the Parliament building. Jacob Zuma won by 198 votes to 177, with 9 abstentions. The 400-seat Parliament at the moment, has 249 ANC MPs, which means that a significant number voted with the opposition to remove the 75-year-old president from the position as president, a post he has held since the year 2009. Lebo, in the studio with me now, has just been talking about the other allegations against him. 783 allegations of corruption stemming alone from a 1990s arms deal. 200,000 leaks emails have been released as well, concerning his links and indeed his family links with the Gupta family in South Africa, as Lebo was saying, really accused of bankrolling and being involved with practices in South Africa which these emails allege but haven't actually been investigated properly yet. Lebo, I mean, the other thing to point out is that the unemployment rate, especially for the young, is extremely high in this country.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you've got upwards of 25% unemployment amongst the young, and that's just one of the many concerns that have been brought up. I think for a number of people, or I think the challenge that the ANC has from the public is that many people feel that there have been broken promises. They expected more, and it's very difficult as a government to say, we're doing our best when there are these allegations of corruption that are swirling around the person at the top.
He is due to come out and greet his supporters, we think, in the next half an hour or an hour. From what you know and how you've studied Jacob Zuma, will there be any contrition, do you think, from this leader? I mean, we heard that he'd slept well last night. He was calm and jovial at the caucus. He's not a man to be pushed around lightly, is he?
I'd be shocked if there was any contrition from him. Look, for the ANC, this is a fight for their very political survival, and also for Jacob Zuma, this is a fight for their survival. And if you look at if you watched the debate that happened in Parliament prior to the vote, this was very much couched in terms of the opposition saying this was a fight for democracy, the ANC saying, look, these are anti-revolutionary people, anti the new order people. So I think when we see Jacob Zuma later on, he's likely to come out and say, look, I've protected our liberation, and I'm still here.
His hinterland is extraordinary. 10 years on Robben Island with Nelson Mandela, the ANC's spy chief, effectively, during the apartheid years.
Yeah, I mean,